You are listening to Roots and Rise with Kels and Madi.
Rooted in wisdom, rising together.
Okay, we're still in the garage.
We're still in the garage because we want to pull in a little bit of a short moment to inspire. So this is because we were up at 4:30 in the morning, we want to talk about kind of how that's become a regularly scheduled programming, because we get a lot of questions, and I know you do, but I've recently gotten a lot of questions about, like, how do you even get up that early? What motivates you to get up out of bed? How do you set yourself up for success? What are the benefits of waking up that early to kind of take care of some of your personal things? So, like, if you're in the same boat that Maddie and I are in, where life is just too full during the day, like, when are you going to be able to fit all the things in? Maybe early mornings are for you, and we're going to talk about that really quick.
I will say, because I've had so many messages on this since owning Move by Maddie, that's like one of the main things people talk to me about is the early mornings and how they're insane and how they agree or disagree with it. You don't have to do anything, by the way.
People disagree. They're like, they'll be like, I can't. It's like, that's not your life, though.
They want to tell me how much they're not morning people. And I'm like, okay, well, we'll do it at night.
You don't have to get up at 5.
So I want to preface it with saying there are two types of people. There are morning people and there are night people. We're actually all in between people because we are meant to love sleep because it feels good.
Yeah.
But you fall in either category. So if you are not a morning person, I would say front load all the things you need to get done in the morning at night when you're most active. That's all I'm going to say about nighttime people. So if you don't want to get up early in the morning, this is maybe not your episode, but you can still take tidbits from it, like make the lunches at night, lay out your clothes for, getting in your car. Do all the things at night that you're not going to have time to do in the morning because you're sleeping in.
Yes. I love talking about the prep the night before. My husband's good at this too, because he has to get up super, super early to drive to Ada every day for work. And that's really hard. But, like, he does this whole prep of, like, getting his food ready and getting his outfits ready and getting the car ready. And, like, so that when you're up that early, it's just autopilot. You're just going. And
you don't have to think.
Yeah.
It takes away. So a huge thing is finding barriers and taking them away. And sometimes you'll be amazed by how simple and insignificant something seems till you get rid of it. And you're like, oh, that was really keeping me from doing that. So huge thing. There is not a night that I go to sleep if I know I'm working out in the morning that my clothes are not laid out.
I'm going to ask even more specific questions, because for those of us who are like, I'm influenced very easily by people that I love. So I'm like, where do you lay them out?
In my closet floor.
On your closet floor. So
I have my workout leggings, my top, my sports bra, my sweatshirt, my favorite legging underwear, seamless, and my shoes and my socks. My shoes are untied. My socks are undone by each shoe. Like, as simple as I can to just walk in there and throw my stuff on, knowing it's the stuff that I feel comfortable in. I don't have to look through things. Like,
no decision making that early in the morning.
I set my coffee pot the night before to auto brew at 4:30, so my hot coffee is ready for me.
Love that.
Another huge aspect, though, the only reason I'm able to get up and move my body, because I can absolutely get up and do devotionals and be still early in the morning, because I do love the early morning time. I love the peace of it.
Yes.
And I love the coffee.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love the coffee.
I love the coffee too.
But to be able to get up and actually move requires other people. So this is something we kind of touched on. We're going to have to do a thing on community, but we're going to have to research a little more so we can really help with building communities and building your own. So if you don't have people you can call in to say, will you come walk with me, 2 or 3 mornings a week, or will you come work out with me? Then that's okay. If you do that. You might not want to that next day, but because you've committed, you'll both show up, and then you'll be so happy you did. And then you'll do it again and again, and it's wonderful. If you don't have that, There are so many morning classes that you can sign up for ahead of time, you can commit to. So people know you're supposed to be there. They're going to notice if you're gone and you've paid.
Yep.
And yes, you're nervous. Yes, you're uncomfortable. Do it anyway.
You should do it anyway. I think that the incentive to that you've already committed to this thing is going to be a massive shift in when people actually, and quite frankly, that's what I think sometimes it takes, is if you are not this person, but you feel sort of motivated or like inspired to be up early in the morning, you have to kind of give yourself reasons to, like, this sounds bad, but to disappoint people, because like it will be the motivator to get you out of bed. It really will.
Like, yeah, okay, I don't want to go, but they're going to know I took a spot. Like, I got to do it. And then usually once you go, always once you go, you enjoy it. And you're like, why don't I do this more often? I get to see the sunrise. I get my coffee. I'm energized. Like, I do think that sleeping in and cuddling in your bed is so nice, but just like having a warm, ooey gooey chocolate chip cookie, it's not supposed to be done every day. It takes the specialness away.
And something that you have taught me, this is huge, is that perspective is everything. The way that you view something is just everything. And I think that even for myself, like I have a very particular way of thinking about things where I'm just like, if it's meant for me, then it's got all of me, you know? And for me, like, that meant health. The beginning of this year was like, we're going to get healthy. We're going to get healthy in all areas of our life. And that for me meant I have to prioritize this. And the only time of day that I know for a fact I got nothing else going on is this time of day. And that's going to mean going to bed a little bit earlier. For Lent this year, Hunter and I gave up watching any sort of screens after 8 p.m. I know it's been really hard. I feel like I'm dying inside, but that's okay because...
So are you just like singing for him?
He's reading books.
I deeply regret this.
No, I'm like, talk to me, because I need like stimulation. No, we've been like reading a lot of books and like laughing about our books, I guess. It's like the 1910s over here. Of course. It's like sitting with a candlelight. Oh my God. And there was electricity in 1910. That's what I'm like, right?
I don't know. I don't know. That's not my level of intelligence. Remembering.
I'm obsessed. Okay, going back. Perspective, huge. That's going to change everything about your choice to like go ahead and get up in the morning and get going. And you set yourself up for success. You prepare yourself the night before. So here's another thing that I think we should bring up is like being an early morning person. It may not feel good, but a lot of things that are good for you don't necessarily feel good. So what are some of the ways that you can treat yourself, coffee aside, because we all know that coffee is like delectable. We love it. But like some of us may not drink coffee. What are some other ways that we can really motivate ourselves to, what are some of the things that are going to make us feel good about getting up in the morning?
I think this is where I'm going to mother some people.
Yeah, do it.
Sometimes if you go long enough feeling ugh,
yeah,
you have two choices: buck up or stay feeling ugh. And sometimes you just got to put on those big girl panties and go, I am tired of not feeling my best. I have these goals, but guess what? The only one that can make them happen is me. So like, I got to get out of my way. I got to find the reason to get up is me.
That's the realist.
You know, the reward is we're so bad about instant gratification. You're not going to see a huge transformation the first day you get up and start a new routine. You're going to see it in 2 months. It's delayed gratification. It's a knowing, a sticking with something because you know enough to know, trust the process. This is what's good for me. You have to parent yourself. What would you tell? I think about that a lot. I think about what I I make my kids do, and what I expect from them. Am I doing the same for me? Am I putting the same level of expectation on myself? That's the whole reason I trained for a triathlon, because I've always wanted to do it, but I was terrified to swim. My girls do summer swim team, and I was watching them get in this super cold pool because it starts in May and it's not heated. And they're like cheering, but they're like swimming a link that for their little bodies is really hard. And I'm like, okay, you know what? If my girls can do this. And they were 6 and 8 at the time, I was like, what's my excuse? I'm going to go figure out how to swim.
I mean, right?
And then I did, and it was very rewarding. But I thought about that a lot of how can I expect things from other people that I don't even expect for myself?
That is a really, really good reminder, I think, for a lot of us. It's like, how do you expect? It's like I think one thing that's interesting is, obviously we've talked about this before, is that social media is sometimes it's a big fat liar a lot of the time. And it paints this picture of people doing the most all the time. And I think one thing that I am very vigilant about ensuring is that we know that we are not made to do everything at optimal levels at all points of the day. But that being said, you are in fact capable of the greatest life imaginable. You are capable of it. It is yours for the taking. And when we see people who are doing something and think that could never be us, I think that is truly largely mindset. And the only reason I believe that is because I think both of us, sorry, it's early, both of us have lived lives where we could easily have made excuses. Mm-hmm. We could have easily made excuses and then just chose otherwise. I'm not really sure. It could be God. Could be God's grace and mercy on our lives. Could be the fact that we inherited beautiful community. Could be a lot of things. But I think at the end of the day, we just made a choice. Mm-hmm. That we were like, we're going to look at this and we're going to choose it, and it's going to be hard, and we're probably not going to be very good at it at first.
But we're going to be conquerors.
But we're going to overcome.
Yeah.
We're going to be conquerors, and we're going to overcome.
It honestly all ties back. I had the hugest learning lesson so I had a brain hemorrhage in 2018. And that was a big defining point in my life. That was the first time I felt deeply the presence of God when people prayed over me. It was when I decided I'd always identified as a Christian, but I'd never been connected. And it was in that moment that I was like, I want to know more. I want to be more. I want to do more. In fact, I had just started Moved by Madi, and my angle was like, don't you want to feel good in your clothes? Don't you want to stop wearing all black? Like, it was very physically driven. And after that brain hemorrhage, I went, no, this is about movement. This is about loving yourself. We are not focusing on our size anymore. And it was before all that was a thing. It was like isn't that wild?
That's crazy.
And obviously having my body give out on me like that, I was so grateful for what my body could do more than what it looked like. But I remember being like, I don't even know where to start with this whole, like, I want to be one of those people that people see God in. I don't know how to do that, but I'm going to look at people that I believe I feel God's presence when I'm around. And I can think of a few people off the top of my hand that I was like, they're those people that, you're around them and you're like, they tie God into conversation, but it doesn't feel overwhelming or judgy or shameful.
Yeah, it just feels truthful.
And they live a life that is very driven by love.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm just going to do what they do. I'm just going to emulate what they do. I'm going to fake it till I make it.
And then
step by step, it was like I was drawing closer. I was learning. And I think that's a big part of life. We're going to feel that imposter syndrome until all of a sudden we look back and we're like, oh, wow, actually, this is part of my identity now.
That's really good. That brings me to this. I have a dear friend, Erin. Hi, I love you. And she is that person for sure. She's that person. And in college, I was a hot mess. I was such a hot mess. And she chose to be my best friend anyway, because she was, I don't know why. She shouldn't have, but she did. And I would watch her very closely, just do life in such an integral, just rooted way. And it was always rooted in God. And it always, to me, felt so authentic and organic to who she was. And it always inspired me. And I sometimes think, like, when we do not feel that we have got the goods, we typically have a friend that does. And we can always look to said friend and say, hey, I'm going to learn a thing or two from you. I'm going to copy this for a minute. I'm going to try this on. I'm going to see how it fits. For those of you who are like listening to this and you're like, didn't this start off about being morning people? We really do mean, like, being a morning person is not like in getting up and moving and doing things for yourself, exercising, doing devotionals, doing that in the morning. It doesn't all have to take place in the early morning. But what we're really trying to hammer down is doing the hard thing for yourself is going to pay dividends later on and sooner than you think. But you are worthy and deserve the best life. So you should do some of those hard things because you deserve it. You deserve the best life possible. And sometimes the best life possible means you have to work for it.
I mean, and it's, God gave us free will. It's like we've talked about before, the person that's drowning, and God gives you a raft and then a boat and then a speedboat. And then, God, why didn't you save me? God's given you all the tools. If you have two legs that work, there are people that don't. Yep. Get up and use them.
Yep.
It's carpe diem. That's
carpe
what
diem.
Really the morning routine is all about, is get up and do the hard thing first. And you will be so empowered and you will put your armor on for the day.
Yeah.
And you'll be prepared for it.
You will be prepared for it. And on top of that, you're going to sleep better.
Much better.
You are going to inevitably be happier, surprisingly. You will be so much more energized. Early mornings fuel the spirit. A couple things, we're going to link this when this episode airs, but my husband has an incredible alarm clock, and it is this little vibrating thing that sleeps under your pillow. And it doesn't wake up your partner. It's like one of those things. But it wakes him up. It wakes him up. It sleeps right under your pillow. It wakes him up, and you have to do a set of like situations to get it to stop.
Wow.
Yeah. It's not as easy as like putting the snooze. So
that's impressive.
Yeah. It's like, I think it's an interesting tool that if this is something for you, but you're like, my partner needs to sleep, great. I've got you covered. And another thing is that we'll link a few things that we think help us get up in the morning. I love sometimes getting a fresh like workout outfit.
Oh,
sometimes that is.
Sometimes I'm like, okay, key. We have to work out tomorrow because I got new workout outfit.
Done. So we can link that too, and we can get you guys to be excited about this. And nobody needs to start this January 1st. We can start this at any point in the year,
any day,
and you're worth it.
And also too, it's reminded me you saying the alarm clock that your husband has. If you and your partner are both. You've talked about like, I would like to start doing this. I would like to get up. I would like to have a devotion. One of the most powerful things in a partnership, if you're able to, is going to bed and waking up at the same time. It puts you on the same circadian rhythm. It puts you on the same schedule. And something really nice is my alarm does go off. And I also know that if it doesn't, Andrew's will. And so there's been times where I don't want to get up and work out, but I'm like, okay, well, he's getting up, so I will too. Do it together.
Yeah.
Like, what a cool thing to grow together in that way. And it's like sometimes one's going to be the giver, one's going to be the taker. It's a great dynamic for your relationship. Sometimes someone's pulling you out of bed. Sometimes you're pulling someone. It's a really cool thing to grow in that way.
That's I love that.
Mm-hmm.
You're just so smart.
It's just a way to grow together, to braid your lives together. You're
wise.
Well, anyone who gives advice, don't think, oh, they have it all. It means they've been through something.
Yes. It's so real. I mean, that's the only reason why we ever felt like this podcast is like, we have lived 18 lives. We're like 2 cats. We're 4 cats and 2 women.
We're more like, what are those, we're like the rodents that don't die.
Yeah. It's like those nuclear rats.
We are nuclear rats. That's okay.
I accept that we're nuclear rats.
Take that.
I'll take it too, because we're going to survive, baby. We'll survive.
On that note,
love you.
We're going to survive through the rest of the day. It's now 6:17. Hope you got some tidbits of love, but also good information to help you get up early.
Yes. Amen. Amen. We love you. We believe in you. You're worth it.
Love ya.